Good, good. Guys, we're gonna start doing some short videos talking about whatever's happening this week or like big subjects in the MMA community. If you don't know Mr. Bernardo here, he's always in the backstage, like training with top level guys. So he's really, really well known between the on the insider.
Perfect. Yeah.
I was thinking we can start this off talking this whole thing that's going on with Charles and Arman, Islam. Now we have Ilia Topuria in the mix, just engage in the mix. It's like it's literally like I don't want to curse here, but it's like a clusterfuck. That's like
it is. That's the best description that you can get, because Topuria says something, then Islam says no, then Charles says something. So.
And then Topuria says no.
Yeah, and Topuria says it's like, no, I only came up for the lightweight because UFC promised me the title shot.
And I don't doubt that. Like, I think that really happened.
Then Islam says, no, we're not going to fight him. We already gave the chance for another guy that came up. You know, then Charles says, I'm the number one contender.
And he's not wrong either. Everyone's kind of on its own right? Like, the champ is kind of like picking and choose who he wants to fight. I think he earned that right? Like, yeah. Maybe not. Yeah. I always say that I don't believe 100% that the champion has that much power to vet fights and like, oh, I'm not going to fight this guy. I want to fight. But I think they can maneuver like
I feel like the UFC let him get more of a, like, he has like more of a 50-60% chance of saying no and UFC being okay with it. Mm-hmm. But at some point, if it's the money fight and the pay-per-view fight, UFC will tell you, man, you have to fight this guy.
Exactly.
So it gets to a point there's no chance. But I feel like on this weight class, there's a few money fights. So Islam has more of a, he can try to see which one he wants or not, you know? Because Charles, I feel like number one money fight on that weight class, it's Charles.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, they'll sell
maybe
much.
Topuria now.
And Topuria. So now it's like who he wants to fight, you know?
I'm usually really well connected with what's hyping in Brazil. Mm-hmm. And I know Topuria's hype in Brazil it's huge, but Brazil does not move the needle for the UFC.
Yeah.
How do you feel Topuria hype it's here in the United States, or maybe even outside of the United States?
I feel it started, the hype was bigger when it first announced, but now because it's just like people keep saying and nothing gets announced, mm-hmm. I think the hype died a little bit, you know? So that's why I feel like Charles starts talking to engage. You got the momentum to start talking, because the hype at first was like, oh my God, they're going to fight. But then Islam came out and just said it right away, like, nope, we're not doing this. So it kind of like, it cooled down a little bit. So
yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned Charles. I had Charles live here on the Portuguese podcast last week, and I was actually talking to him. I say, look, you're not a guy who actually talks a lot. You don't challenge anyone, but do you see the noise you make when you open your mouth? Because last week he posted like something on his stories on Instagram, so he's saying I'm the number, and that thing went viral. And he's everywhere giving out interviews, and that's where this whole beef started with Topuria, right? Like he's saying, and I don't think like he said, look, Topuria is not a big fight. That was like a huge poke on Topuria. Topuria got really offended by that. Then he came back like swinging. He's like, oh yeah, you got 10 losses. Listen, Charles has 10 losses, but he's been fighting UFC for 15 years. You just got here, dude. Take it easy, right?
Yeah. No, true. You know, and he's an amazing, Topuria is an amazing fighter, but it was a different weight class, you know? The lightweight class is the hardest weight class, I think, in my opinion, right now in the UFC.
I agree.
So it's like, you can't just show up and think that Charles, it's wrong, you know? It's like...
Exactly.
It's hard, but I feel it's really smart of Charles, because I think he felt too that the hype kind of died out, calmed down a little bit of Topuria, and because Islam said first, like, oh, I'm not going to fight him right away, Charles is like, okay, now it's my chance.
Exactly.
Because UFC will not give Arman. I feel like a lot of things need to go right for the UFC give another title shot right away for Arman, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Arman and Dustin Engage the same thing, you know? It's like, they're not, those two are really nice fights and everything, but I don't think they're going to get a title fight.
Maybe they can't even fight each other. That's like, with the scenario that we're kind of looking at. So Charles let escape something that really got me thinking, because he said that what he heard was that Islam it's moving up as soon as International Fight Week.
Yeah.
So I was like, there's two things going on here. They either hoping Jack Della Maddalena wins against Belal Muhammad, or they think it's going to be an easy fight for Belal Muhammad to the point that he's ready to fight in June again.
Yeah, because he been saying some stuff against DDP too, right? Bilal said after the fight against Strickland, Bilal made some comments too about like it was be an easy fight against.
Do you think he will go up to fight? That's
so that's why I made it, because they're all friends too, right? Yeah, that's like they're all friends. So I don't know.
Well, they friends, but really they.
Yeah, because I don't see.
Did a couple of training camps with them, but how really close is that friendship? Like, because I think they have a relationship, but I don't think they are that close friends. Like I don't know, like Gilbert Burns and Vicente Luque. There was a point a few years ago that Burns was right there for a title fight, and Luque was killing everyone. I think he was like number 6 or number 5 in the ring. And I asked him, I said, look, dude, you guys are like almost like brothers. What's going to happen? And Burns says, like, if I'm the champion, I'll vacate the belt and let Luke fight for the belt. It's at that level. I don't think we even close here with Belal Muhammad and Islam.
No.
There's a respect.
Even more because, like you said, he did 1-2 camps. Then after he didn't do any, we didn't see he doing any camps with them anymore.
Maybe that's a reason for it, right? Like,
yeah, and Arman commented the same thing last week with me when I asked him. I was like, "Hey, what's up?"
Oh, that's right. You've been training Arman. Oh, that's right.
So I asked him, and I was like, "Hey, what's up? When you gonna get a fight?" He said, "They didn't give me anyone. They didn't say anything. They want me to fight International Fight Week." And I was like, "Well, what's the situation?" He says, "I don't know." He said something like, "I heard Islam maybe go up."
Yeah, the same thing that Charles says. So that's there's literally some smoke there for sure.
Yeah,
right.
If 2 guys from the same weight class said something, there's probably.
It's not that there's smoke. There's fire, right? Like if you have smoke, you got some fire. That's really, even though a little fire, that's something cooking there for sure. Yeah,
100%. And I think it's going to be even crazier now, because then what? Then who's going to fight for the title after it get vacant, So
Charles and Topuria, because that's what Charles is thinking. Yeah,
I feel like they should do it. Charles, if they're gonna do it, if they do Charles and Topuria, they should do pretty much try to do in the same event, do Gaethje and Arman or something like that. So then you already have the next fight going on, you know. So people are not waiting too long or anything like that. So,
and I hate that fight for Justin Gaethje. Arman is too good for him now. It's not just because Pahumpa, which is Arman's head coach, that does the podcast with me every Monday here in Portuguese. I'm not just saying that to please you or please Pahumpa, but this kid is fucking special. He's good. Oh my god.
I know, because the last few months he's been here in California, and I've been training him, and you can see he's like, oh yeah. Like when
it's crazy,
when the Dan Hook fight got off, he came on Monday. He was like, "Hey, coach, this happened. What do you think?" And I was like, "Arman, take it. You need 1 takedown. That's it."
Yeah, exactly.
And he's like, "Okay, we just need to make weight." Then I was like, "Okay," but then she was too heavy. He's like, "There's no catch weight."
Just need to make weight, like 35
just need to make weight.
Pounds,
I was like, okay, but he was too heavy. He was like 185 at night, and I was like, I was like 10 days notice. I was like,
you never.
But for him is a good fight, and I think UFC is gonna make him fight 1 fight before any titles. So.
Yeah, I agree. He'll get a title shot if it's an emergency or something like that. So if I was Arman, I would be super close to weight, like 3 days away from making weight for a fight at any time, because you see what happened to Moicano. Like, what was the chance that Moicano get a title shot this year? Like, so and Arman, if you don't think Arman is good, like, no one will survive Charles the way he did. It's crazy. It's crazy, because Charles caught him like a couple of times that if it was anyone else, that fight was over. And the things that he did, it's amazing. He's
a really, really good fighter.
Yeah,
really good fighter.
We'll come back with a separate video talking how do you think Arman and Gaethje goes, and maybe Charles and Topuria goes. That's a good breakdown for the fight, and I'm really interested to see what you think about it. All right.
Yeah. course.
Thanks, guys. That's it. We'll be back.